Hey everybody, it's Olivia from the Tiger Tech team, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Notability app on your iPad. So when you first open the app, it shows you a list of all of your dividers and subjects, and it shows you what notes you have in certain subjects. So if I hit all notes, it shows me all the notes I've made. Unfiled notes would show me ones that aren't in a subject. If I expand the dividers, you can see all the different subjects that I have in here. And if I collapse them, then you don't see the subjects. This is really helpful if you have a lot of different categories of stuff and you want to be able to separate it without having your screen be very cluttered. So if you want to make a subject or a divider, just press this little plus button that you see I'm pressing and hit Create Divider and type in what you want your divider's name to be. So this one is going to be tutorials. So as you can see, this little triangle, if it's pointed down, that means you'll be able to see what's underneath it. If it's not, then it just shows you how many notes are in there. So if I want to add a subject into this divider, I just press the plus button once that triangle is facing downwards, and I will type in Notability, because that's what I'm doing my tutorial on. So now that I have a subject, if I go in there, I can create notes within that subject. But before we make any notes, I'm going to show you how to edit and delete and add passwords to your files. So if we click this little edit button up here, a bunch of little gears pop up. So if you want to change the settings for a divider, just press the little gear next to the divider and you can change the name or you can delete it from here. If you want to mess with a subject, click the gear next to the subject and you can change the name, you can change the color. So let's make it orange for Erie Tigers. And you can add a password to the subject. So I'm going to make my password banana, so I remember it. Set password. Now, I can change it from here, or now that I'm done, you can see there's a little lock icon next to Notability now. If I want to access the notes in that subject, I have to type in the password banana, and now it allows me to access it. So this is really helpful if you have sensitive information that you don't want people to be able to see by just going on your Notability. All right, now let's make a note. So to make a note, you just need to press the pencil and paper icon that you see I'm pressing here, and it will bring you to this screen. So the first thing we want to do is name our note. You can name your note by pressing on the name of the note until this text box comes up, and then you can change it. So let's name this Notability tutorial. And now if I go back, it shows that this is now called Notability tutorial instead of like Note 5 or whatever. If I want to change the date on the note, I just have to touch the date and it will allow me to modify it so I can make it look like I did this on Thursday at 4 in the morning. And then if I go back, it tells me that it was modified on this day, but the date on the paper, once you enter it, then it shows you September 1st. All right, now let me show you all of the different tools on Notability. The first one is the text tool, which you can see I have highlighted here. Once you have the text tool selected, click anywhere on your note to start typing. So I can say, welcome to my tutorial. Goodness. Welcome to my tutorial. Or if I don't feel like typing, because I'm a lazy millennial, I can just press the microphone button on the keyboard and I can type using my voice. Welcome to the future! Exclamation point. And now it types for me. So that's just one of the things that the text tool can do. if you want to change your font size, your color, whether it's bold, italicized, or underlined, take a look at this menu right above the keyboard. So you can change the font by pressing this little box, and it opens a menu where you can change your font. So now I'm typing in this font. And you can also add more fonts from here. Now you can be very fancy with your typing. When you're also in the text menu, you can change your font size by pressing the plus or minus buttons. So as you can see, now it's bigger. You can't make it bold on this particular font, so let's go to a different font. So now that we're in Gill Sans, we can change the color of the font. So now I'm purple. And as you can see, I'm also italicized. So if I don't want to be italicized, I just hit that little I. So the B is for bold, the I is for italicized, and the U is for underlined. And if you can tell if those are activated or not on whether they're that darker shade of blue that you see here. Now, what if you have a particular font and font size and color that you want to use all the time and you want to be able to recall it instantly? Well, that's where these little hearts with ABC come in. So if you touch and hold one of these, then you can set a preference. So if I want to use this fancy font all the time, I can put that there. I can make it so that it's underlined. I can make it really big, and I can make it blue. And now that that's there, if I'm typing in, say, Helvetica, and I want to go back to that fancy font, I just have to click that, and it takes me right there. I can't type. So that's really useful if you want to do all of your writing in one color, or if you have a specific font that you need to use. The next tool that I'm going to show you is the pencil tool, which you can see I have highlighted. If you touch that, once you have it selected, it brings up these options. This changes the thickness of the line. With this one, the thickness varies, so like that. And with this one, it does not. It just stays constant, like that. This one's more stylized. Oh, also, if you need to undo a pencil mark, you just hit this, or anything in your note, you just hit this little back arrow. You can see it's between the text tool and the box with the arrow coming out of it. And if you tap and hold that, then you can redo, which is helpful. All right, so more options. With the pencil tool, this changes the size of your pencil, and this changes the color. The highlighter tool is very similar in that it has the same sort of options, but it is not opaque. So as you can see, it's not as opaque, and I can draw it over text. You can use it as a highlighter, or alternatively, if you have the text tool selected and you tap twice on your text and drag it over as if you were going to copy it, you have the option to highlight it, which cannot be erased with the eraser tool, which is helpful. Now, the thing about the highlighter tool is in one single stroke, it's not going to get any darker, however many times you do it. But if you do multiple strokes like this, where you're lifting your finger up each time, it's going to get more and more opaque. This is fun if you need to shade something or show emphasis on something on a map. but that's what you use the highlighter for. Now for the eraser tool. So the eraser tool works like this. It erases by stroke. So if I go over this and I want to erase all that, I have to go over it multiple times. But with that, I only had to go over it once because each time that you break your line and lift up your finger, that's a new stroke. So if I wanted to erase all of that, I couldn't. And if I drew this really big, beautiful, magnificent picture all in one line, and I simply went over it, I could erase it. But if I didn't want to do that, I could just undo. If I decided I needed to, I could just redo. Alright, so now let's move on to the scissor tool. So before we use the scissor tool, we have to draw something with the pencil or highlighter tool. Let's draw a smiley face. And if I decide that, oh man, I really, really love that smiley face, I want to put it on every single note that I do. It'll be my personal signature. Then I just use the scissor tool and I draw a circle around it with my finger. And as you can see now, it's all dotted and moving. And if I tap that inside the circle, then it gives me all of these options. With style, you can change the size of the pencil and the color. So if I decide, oh, I want a purple smiley face instead, then I can make it purple. If I tap away, then it closes that menu. I can also cut, copy, and delete it. So if I want to copy it into a different note, then I hit that copy, and I can go to a different note. So let's say I want to add another smiley face into there. Then I take the scissor tool, press and hold on the document, and then hit paste. And it's there. And I can move it, and I can scale it by pinching it and using my fingers to manipulate it and rotate it, and I can make it upside down and bigger if I wanted to. See, now look at it. Isn't it beautiful? And while in this different note, I can still style it, make it really thick and black. And I can erase it using the eraser tool if I decide that I don't want it. Alright, so let's go back to our note. It's unlocked still. It won't lock until we exit Notability and then come back. So, now that we know what the scissor tool does, we can use the touch tool. This one is really helpful if you just want to scroll through your document and you don't want to accidentally select some text or draw something. This one is just sort of neutral ground, and you can't do a ton with it except for move. Alright, so moving to the right, you can see we have a microphone icon, and if we press the microphone icon, then the note starts recording. So if there's a lecture that you want to record so that you can listen back to it later, just use this. And you press it again to stop recording, and now we see this little arrow has appeared. If we press the microphone icon, we can listen to it. If my audio was on, hold on, let me turn my volume up. If we press the microphone icon, then the note starts recording. So if we press the microphone, if we press listening the microphone and you were like, oh, I forgot something, then press this little 10 button and it'll bring you back 10 seconds. And you can also change the speed at which the note plays. So if you only have half an hour and the lecture is an hour long, you can press this button. If we press the microphone icon, then the note starts recording. So if there's a lecture that you want to record so that you can listen back to it later, just use this. And if there's a lecture that you want to record so that you can listen back to it later, just use this. And so you can also make it slower. If we press the microphone icon, then and here you can change your volume, and it gives you options for AirPlay because I'm on AirPlay. And if we press this little gear, you can look at all the different recordings you've made on this note. So every time you press that microphone, it'll start a new recording. so you can have different recordings. So let's say that I decide to make a new recording. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Now, I want to get rid of that recording, or the one before it. I just hit edit, and then the minus and delete, and that will get rid of those. All right. So, now that we know how to use that, let's keep moving, and I'll show you what this plus button does. So this gives you the option to put media in your notes, which is exceptionally helpful. So if you want to add a photo from your camera roll into a note, then you can go there, and let's find a good picture. Let's do this picture of from cereal. So we can drag it down to make it so it doesn't interfere with the text, and you can drag it from a corner to make it bigger. And once you tap it, it gives you all of these options. So edit allows you to crop the photo so that you can only have the important bits. It also allows you to draw on it and make shapes. So if I say, ooh, that's very important, then I can circle it. Now once I'm done, that is part of the picture and you can't erase it. So also you want to use the text tool in order to select pictures. You can disable text wrap, which means you can move it wherever. You can cut, copy, and delete it. You can also add a caption. So I can say, what's the deal with Jay? And now that is a caption directly under the picture. And if I move the picture, the caption goes with it. Alright, the next thing you can do is you can take a photo. So if I wanted to take a photo of me, hello, I wanted to take a photo of myself, I want an attractive picture. Then I can use that photo by selecting use photo, or you can retake it, and you can do the exact same things with this picture. Alright, let's move down. You can also import a figure, which is a lot like Google Draw if you put it in a Google document. You can scribble on it, and you can make your brush bigger like that. You can crop. You can type. You can add shapes. And then it shows up in your note, and you can't erase it. It acts as a picture. So once again, you want to use the type function. And if you go to edit, you can change all of that stuff. You can also add a caption. All right. This is a really cool feature. You can do a web clip, which is a lot like a screenshot. So let's say I want to go to Wikipedia, and I really need a screenshot of the Triturus genus of newts. So I go to the common characteristics, and I really want that in my note. So I'll hit done, and it will copy that screen and put it into my note. And the cool part about this is if you leave a bee for a while, you go and you come back and you're like, oh, I need to go back to that website. Then you just click on it with the text tool and hit browser, and it will take you there. It will take you to that page. You can also do the same things with the other things. You can edit it, draw on it, crop it, etc., add a caption, but that's a really useful function. And finally, you can add a sticky note. So if I wanted to put a sticky note in so that I could say, don't forget, then I have a sticky note. This works as like a little background. If you have the text tool selected and you select it, you can move it as a whole unit. And if you go to this paper option that we see, then you can change the color of the sticky note and you can add grid lines like you would find on lined paper, or you can get rid of those. So that's really helpful if you want to move a block as a unit. All right. So that's all you can do on the media menu. If you press this little wrench, it can show you the paper menu, which allows you to change the color and line style of the background of your note. So now when I go to this note, it's got grid lines on it and it's this light blue color. If you go to info, then it shows you when you created it, which is that date that we made up. It's not accurate. That's the one that you can change. And then the modified date is when we last modified it, which is right now. And then if you go to the help menu, it gives you some more tips and tricks on Notability. Now, if we go to this little paper icon that you can see I'm hitting right now, it takes you to this menu, which shows you all the pages that you have. And if there's one specific one that you want to be able to recall whenever you need it really quick, you just press this little thing that turns red here, and it becomes bookmarked. So you can go to this next page in bookmarks and be able to see it. You can also search. So if I want to figure out where in my note I typed future and I search it, it will tell me that I typed it right there. This is incredibly helpful if you're note taking and you want to find something in your note. Now, if I have this page checkmarked, so let's say I have this page checkmarked. If I touch it again, it will give me these options. I can add a page, I can cut the page, copy the page, clear the page, or delete the page. So let's say I want to add another page. It will add a page after that. Or if I want to clear this page, now there's nothing on it. All right, so now we've gone over making a note and all the different things you can do. But now, how do we share a note? Well, it's fairly simple. So right next to this back arrow that takes us back to the menu, there is a square with an arrow coming out of it, and that is our sharing button. So you can share with all of these different options that we have. You can share through email, you can share through Dropbox, Google Drive, Twitter, and all of these different things. If the thing that you want to share through isn't on this list, like Schoology, for example, then press this share button and choose your format. PDF is what I usually use. Notability, the note, is if you want someone else to be able to edit it in Notability, a lot like a PSD file in Photoshop. RTF shows, I've never used that one personally. You can just use PDF and Note. I believe that one is, it allows you to share the recordings as well. But here with PDF, we can add the recordings, so you can change how many pages you want to share and hit share note, and it gives you more options. You can add it to your notes, copy to Schoology, copy to Drive, or any of these other things that you can add from here. So that's how you would share. Let me take you through the process of sharing on Notability. So if I want to share the note, or Schoology, excuse me. Another thing you can do in Notability is zoom. So if you want to get really close and personal with your drawings or your text, you have to select either the pencil, highlighter, eraser, scissors, or scissors. The text tool and the hand tool will not show this option. And as you can see, a little magnifying glass with a plus has appeared in the corner. If you click that, then it creates a box. So this box in the corner that I'm moving right now is shown down here. So if I write hi, it shows up there. If I make it bigger, this makes it bigger too. So if I have a really, really small pencil and I want to really be detailed, I can make that box really small. And as I'm writing really big here, it appears very small there. I can move this around, I can make it bigger, I can drag it, I can move it left and right and down with these buttons here. And if I want to exit, I just press that button. If you want to share multiple notes, then just press the box with the arrow coming out of it on this screen, and you can select a bunch of different notes to all share. Another thing that you can do is to search for notes. So if I want to look for the note where I said future, it will tell me that I said future in this note. And if you go to this little gearbox in the bottom left corner, you can look at some of your settings. If you turn on auto backup, you can have it so that all of the notes you create back up to Google Drive or Dropbox or any of these others. You can manage your accounts, so you can log in to Google Drive, Dropbox, and these other two so that you can share to them. You can turn on your iCloud so that in between devices you can make sure your notes stay the same. You can change your themes. Some of these you have to buy. They have a dark theme and a light theme. This sort of changes what your notes look like. Your document settings, you can change what your default note title will be. You can include the date or the time if you want to. You can change your default paper. For typing, you can change your default font, and you can decide whether you want to check spelling or whether you want to be able to start typing by tapping anywhere on a line. For handwriting, you can change some of these settings. Left-handed mode allows the palm to be, it allows a little palm rest to go to the top of the screen, which will make it so that if you put your palm down and you're left-handed, then it won't think that you're drawing there. So if you select this, then whenever you're typing, Notability will prevent your iPad from falling asleep, which basically means turning itself off. You can add a password to web clips so that if you want to access that Notability browser that lets you go to a website from a web clip, it requires a password. There's also this little screen and this, which is the user guide again, and with this little trash can, it gives you the option to take notes that you've made and deleted and restore them, which is helpful if you accidentally delete something or someone accidentally deletes it. And as it says down here, unless recovered, notes in this list will be permanently deleted after 30 days. So if your note is 2 years old, it's probably not going to be on there. So now I'll show you how to share something to Schoology. So you hit this share, pick your format, share note. Okay, so it says that I have to unlock it in order to share it. So I'm going to put in my password, and that unlocks it. So now I can share it to Schoology, and it takes me to Schoology. I can submit it to an assignment, so click the subject, and I can put it in there. or I could add it to my resources, which is sort of like a drive within Schoology. I can also share it to Google Drive. And when I do, it gives me an error. It asks me what folder I want to put it in. So if I wanted to put it in the Tiger Tech Team folder, I could put it in there and send it to Google Drive. Now, when it's a PDF, you can't edit it. So it's saved, it's more like an image than a note at that point. All right, so that, my friends, is how to use, share, edit, and sort your notes in Notability. If you have any questions about this tutorial or you want to suggest I add something to it, please send us an email at ehstigertechteam@gmail.com.